Hi everyone, welcome back to part 7 of the Book One Cozies Club chapter by chapter for Christmas Cowbells, the first book in the Buttermilk Creek Mystery series by Mollie Cox Bryan. I'm Di and this is my audio only reading vlog for this book. Today I will be reading chapters 37 through 42 and sharing my thoughts with you along the way. Due to the nature of this reading vlog, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't read these chapters yet, I suggest that you not listen to this recording until you do. If you would prefer to hear my general thoughts on this book in its entirety, keep an eye out for my Book One Cozies Club series First Impressions video, which will be posted sometime after the reading vlogs for this book have finished. So how is everybody doing today? I am doing well. It is a bit chilly here where I am, so I have a cup of freshly brewed coffee and a snack to keep me company while I dig into these chapters. So I'm definitely looking forward to more momentum in this story, hoping that things move along. We are past the halfway point at this juncture, so yeah, I'm ready to be going down the What Happened to Nancy road. I've been ready to go down that road for a while now, and it just seems like we're focusing more on Bryn as opposed to Bryn investigating what happened to Nancy. So, yeah, I'm going to dig into chapter 37 right now, and I will be back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 37, and I'm glad that she was able to get in touch with the previous owners of the farm. Maybe we'll find out if things were happening to them while they owned her residence, her farm. That will be some interesting information for sure. I got hung up on the milk and the way that she checks for cleanliness of the milk. I mean, she uses a term that I'm not familiar with, coliform, I think it's called. And she says she puts the milk in the freezer for 3 hours before testing it to make sure it was free of the coliform and aerobic plate counts. And then she goes on to say, which basically means, but still uses coliform 2 more times in explaining what coliform is supposed to mean. I presume coliform is a type of bacteria, but usually when you say that basically means, you explain it in a layman's terms what you're looking for. So that was a little strange to me. Things about this particular novel keep sticking out to me so much that I have to stop and try to figure out what's being said. They're like roadblocks or road bumps. They're like road bumps, and it's messing with the flow of the story for me. I'm glad we're getting some conversation between Bryn and her sister Becky. I've been waiting for the time where Becky figures out that Bryn's been hiding something from her. Up until this point, I guess Bryn was doing an okay job keeping things from Becky and making it so that Becky didn't suspect, but the cat's kind of out of the bag now, so I guess Bryn needs to be upfront with Becky more about what's going on. But even Becky was somebody trying to warn Nancy off? And it's been the obvious question to me, if somebody killed Nancy, why was she killed? What's going on? What was the reason? I mean, for me, that's the mystery right there. But we've been focused so much on what was happening to Bryn, how she was getting her cheese recognized by people in the community, her getting to know people in the community, the nativity and getting her cow settled, and then the 3 incidences of malicious mischief that's gone on her property that we haven't really focused on what's happened to Nancy besides her finding that threat in Nancy's apartment and then finally going to figure out who the contractor was and questioning him a little bit. But other than that, there's not been very much movement on the Nancy investigation part. And to me, that's what's most interesting. That's what I'm most interested in. So, yeah, sounds like she's going to get to call the previous owners now, maybe find out about the property. That may give us insight as to whether there's something going on between Nancy and her property, and Bryn's property, because that's kind of been something that stuck out to me as well, since they're neighbors, especially with the Underground Railroad thing that's been brought up like 3 times, I think now. If this doesn't have anything to do with an Underground Railroad or some underground tunnels or somebody trafficking something like drugs, I'm going to be very surprised, because that's kind of been the thing that I've thought might be the case since very early in this story. I mean, it is a pretty obvious conclusion to me, so there's a part of me that thinks maybe that isn't the case, which, you gotta throw obvious things in to try to throw your readers off and make them want to read the story. But yeah, I don't know. Things aren't moving as fast as I want them to. And so, yeah, any little bit of information in regards to any of the mischief or what happened to Nancy will be interesting to me. So I believe she's going to get in touch with the previous owners of her place, and I'll be very interested to hear what they have to say. But that's all I've got for chapter 37, and I will dive into chapter 38 right now and be back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 42. Very, very interesting things happening at the end of that chapter. But let's go back to chapter, I don't even remember, 38 maybe? Unmarked gravestones. Box of money. We'll call the sheriff in the morning about it. Why are they waiting until the next morning? I mean, I knew the money was going to be gone. Like, you can't not know the money was going to be gone. I do find it interesting that they're kind of weaving this in to make it seem like Tilly had something to do with it. Now, she was definitely a bit shifty when we first met her. And, the fact that Nancy's books were in the box at the unmarked gravesite instead of the money is curious. And then we find out that she's at an expensive ski lodge with friends after the money goes missing. And then now this, she's taken a plane to Massachusetts? Boston? How many times did she talk to Wes? Like, twice? Once or twice? So that is very weird. Like, she must think that she's not safe where she is. To fly to get to somebody that she barely knows and not have gone to, like, Bryn. I mean, I would think that she trusted Bryn by now. She did show up at the farm a few times, and Bryn's been nothing but nice to her. So, yeah, I'm very confused by what's going on or what's going through Tilly's mind and why she made the decision to fly to Boston to see Wes instead of maybe seeking out Bryn's help or even just calling Bryn. It's just weird. On another note, looks like we're getting somewhere into why Nancy was taken to Augusta Medical instead of the normal hospital for burn victims. I think Bryn is being a bit obtuse about Mike, though. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that he's interested in her, especially with the way he reacted when she had mentioned Wes was moving in. But then, like, 3 sentences later, she was like, I don't know if he likes me or not. Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I'm a bit miffed with the way she's handling things. I'm a bit miffed with the dumb decisions she's making. I don't know. I'm just miffed all around, I guess. On another note, we did, well, I guess not even on another note. It's kind of on the same vein where she goes and confronts Tom by herself. Like, if you suspect that he had anything to do with the retaliation you're getting, the malicious mischief on your property, especially after finding out that, he can pretty much see down to your farm from his house, you still continue in on your line of questioning. You get upset with him. The way she talked to him was like she was talking to a child. You don't go anywhere. I found it funny that his wife had a pie ready for her, though. An Amish Christmas pie? I'm going to have to look that one up because that sounded interesting. I was wondering if Bryn was going to have a adverse reaction to the pie, because obviously she did not like the shoe fly pie at all. And tasting another pie, you're not familiar with, you never know what kind of reaction you're going to have, if you're going to like it, if you're not going to like it. But yeah, it turned out to be one she liked, and I'm very surprised with how apologetic Tom was, but not surprised at the same time that his attitude completely changes when his wife is around. I didn't think he was a bad guy to begin with, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that earlier in a different vlog, but it's nice to see that he is owning up to what he did and trying to correct it. I'm glad that the wife of the bakery owner, I don't even remember her name, was it Elaine? It was Sheila from Hoff's Bakery. I'm glad that she came by to tell Bryn what was going on, because it seems like, well, obviously people still think of Bryn as an outsider, and so yeah, it's good to know what happened that made Sheila's husband change his mind so quickly after making that appointment with her. But as we learn just a few pages later, Tom has corrected his stipulation, or his suggestion, I guess you'd call it a suggestion, for the Hoff's Bakery not to carry Bryn's cheese. But it definitely seems like Bryn is becoming more welcome in the community, which is nice to see, especially with everything that she's experienced with the adornment on her door and the little campfire area on her property. I thought maybe the Reverend had also come over to, check on her and make sure she was doing okay, do reverendly things, but obviously he only came to criticize. I'm obviously not a fan of the Reverend, but yeah. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to finding out why Tilly decided to fly to Boston to see somebody that she barely knows, because that ending of chapter 42 was too up in the air. But I'm going to make myself stop right now. Let me know your thoughts on these chapters down in the comments below. So anyway, I hope you're all having a great evening, and I will be back with you again tomorrow. Take care, and smile always. Bye.